If you are a person that has to boil your ribs before you put them on the grill to make sure that they are tender, you really want to pay attention to this part. Now, this is... Alright guys, so let's get started with my husband's jerk chicken recipe. If you watch some of our other videos, you'll know that we're originally from Chicago and we recently moved to the South. So a lot of the ingredients that we would normally be able to purchase from Chicago, we actually can't find here. So we did have to improvise. So we went in there with some avocado oil. Looks like that was about 2 tablespoons, about a teaspoon of some ground cumin, half teaspoon of onion powder, and then he added 3 packs of the sazon seasoning. All right, went in there with some garlic powder. That looks like maybe about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Hit it with a little bit of that Italian seasoning. Went in with some jerk seasoning. This is just some dried jerk rub that we found. And then sometimes you may have to add a little bit more oil just to make sure that you are keeping the chicken moist. This also helps to get the seasoning distributed evenly throughout the chicken. We got some brown sugar going and a little bit more of the sazon. And then just go in there and get all of that seasoned nice and distributed throughout your wings. I believe we let this chicken marinate overnight. So this is what he did the night before. So go ahead and season it up and let it sit overnight. All right, next we're going to get started on his jerk marinade. We have some orange habanero peppers, a head of garlic, about 2 stalks of celery, 2 bunches of green onion, and some jalapenos. To the blender, we have some liquid smoke, the full package of the thyme, the celery that has been chopped. You don't have to do them in any particular order, just rough chop. To that, he added the bunches of the green onions that were chopped, the full head of garlic, the habanero peppers. Make sure you take those seeds out. It's going to be way too hot if you don't take out those seeds in that habanero, the jalapenos, some lemon, and some balsamic vinegar. He also added a bit more of the brown sugar. And then some avocado oil to get things moving in the blender once he gets ready to make everything nice and emulsified. And then once everything is in the blender, you're going to go ahead and hit it till everything is blended. This little ninja is actually cool. You put it for the time that you want and it just pulses everything on its own. Once it's done, he went ahead and poured it over the seasoned wings and got everything nice and coated, and then put it in a Ziploc bag to marinate overnight. If you are a person that has to boil your ribs before you put them on the grill to make sure that they are tender, you really want to pay attention to this part. Now, this is something that my family has done for years to make sure that we have tender ribs at our barbecues. And I even do it with my steaks. Even though ribeyes are normally tender anyway, I still like a little extra tenderness. So what you want to do is sprinkle some basic baking soda. Don't overdo it. You just want to sprinkle it. I kind of like wanted to show you guys what I did. I actually did it the night before, but I realized I didn't show you. But I wanted to give you an idea about how much baking soda, just enough so you can see it on there a little bit. Don't overdo it. One year I overdid it with the baking soda and messed up the ribs. That's when I first started. So luckily they forgiven me for that. But yes, just nicely sprinkle that baking soda on your meat, and then you're going to go in with some vinegar. The reaction between the vinegar and the baking soda is going to cause the meat to tenderize. You want to soak your meat 24 to 48 hours. If you have only 24, it'll still be good, but 48 will be even better. Put everything, I just use like one brand new, like large bag that I have, and then I just tie it up in a knot and sit it up on my tray and let it sit in the fridge 24 to 48 hours. And then the day of the barbecue, you want to go in and rinse off your meat really well. Get all that baking soda and vinegar off. You're not going to be able to taste it, so don't worry about it tasting like baking soda or vinegar. That's why you don't put too much of the baking soda. But go in there and rinse all of your meat off really well, and then I'll show you how I season my ribs. So the first thing I do now, also, I went ahead before I marinated my ribs, is I took that little skin off the back. You'll see I still had a little piece left, but get that back skin off of that. I don't remember what it's called, but make sure you peel that off the whole back of the rib before you, at least before you season it. So that way the seasoning is penetrating both sides of the ribs. And then trim any excess fat. You do want there to be fat on the ribs, because the fat that's going to drip from the ribs is going to help keep the smoke going on the grill. So once I get all of my fat trimmed, I go ahead and get it all dried up so I can season it. Okay, so the first thing I did was I just took a little bit of yellow mustard and I brushed it onto my rib just to help the seasoning stick to the rib. Not a lot, just a little bit, and you won't taste the mustard, but I just want to, make sure that it's just used as a good binder. I went in with some kosher salt, coarse ground black pepper, this Kinder seasoning, it's a wood fire garlic, that's really good, some accent. Now, the good thing about the brush is that you can go in and help spread out any bits of seasonings that kind of have little spots of excess. But also I added some crushed red pepper, of course my Tony Satchery, you already know, some garlic powder, and some onion powder. And then I topped it off with some paprika, and then I flipped it over and did the same thing to the other side. And then we're going to get started on the sides. I did simple sides. I really wasn't in the mood to do anything too exotic or extravagant. So we're just going to do some baked beans and some crab salad. I'm going to show you the recipe for that. So I went ahead and sauteed some bacon in my pan. Once my bacon was done, I added one large onion that I chopped, as well as 3 cloves of garlic that I chopped. Once I got that all in my pan, nice and sauteed, I went ahead and chopped up my bacon, because we are going to add this to our beans. Okay, so for my beans, I have one large, I think it's 117 ounces of the Bush baked beans. I have my little casserole dish that I use for that. I also added my sauteed onions and garlic. That onion and garlic sauteed in that bacon grease is just amazing. So don't drain that bacon grease. Make sure you cook that onion and that garlic in that bacon. If you don't eat pork, I don't know what to tell you. All right, to that, I've added a couple of tablespoons of some spicy brown mustard, as well as some yellow mustard. One full container of the Sweet Baby Ray's sweet and spicy barbecue sauce. This is not the large, this is just their standard size barbecue sauce. Then I went in with a couple of tablespoons of honey. Also some Lee and Perrins, that's what I'm going to call it to save time trying to figure out that word. Some coarse ground black pepper. I hit it with some garlic powder. And you're going to season this to taste as well. Some salt. And then make sure when you are mixing your beans that you don't handle them too roughly because you don't want them to become mushy. So you want to just kind of fold in your seasonings and everything so that, you know, you're not kind of beating the beans up, but just get them nice and folded in. After that, I added some brown sugar. I'm going to say all together, I probably added about 2.5 cups. We like our beans kind of sweet and spicy. If you like a more savory bean, you would want to use less of the brown sugar, but we like our beans sweet and spicy. So about 2.5 cups. And make sure you're tasting this as you go. I'm going to try to figure out the measurements. I don't necessarily use a certain amount of this or that. I just kind of season to my liking, but I will try as best as I can to kind of figure out the measurements for you in the description box. And then once everything is nice and blended, we're going to bake this in the oven 350 degrees. Now I did mine for 1 hour, cover with foil, and then another hour uncover. I know that 2 hours is longer than a lot of people do, but I love my beans like this. They taste really good, and then it also reduces the liquid and everything just comes together really well. So, I mean, you do it according to your liking, but I really do the 2 hours is just right. I like mine to come out sizzling. You'll see how they look shortly, but yes, 1 hour covered and then another hour uncovered. All right, next we're going to get started on this crab salad. This is just 1 pack of imitation crab. I got this, I believe, from Sam's Club, but it's just 1 full pack. I know some people cut their crab up. We like our crab kind of chunky. I don't really like it stringy or like seeing chopped pieces. It kind of gives it a more, I guess, organic look. To that pack, I have 1 small onion that I chopped. I say that's about a 4th cup of chopped onion. 1 full cup of chopped celery. Y'all know I love my celery. And since we are now in the South, we've switched over to Duke's mayonnaise. That is about a cup. I want to say by the time everything is done, I probably use about 2 cups of the Duke's. Went in with some lemon pepper, coarse ground black pepper, some kosher salt, some Old Bay, some onion powder, and some garlic powder. Now, as you start to mix everything together, the crab is going to break up on its own, so you don't have to worry about having those big chunks. As you start to work the dressing into the crab, it will break up, so you won't have those pieces that are too large, but it still gives it a nice, natural look. And then after that, I went in with a few tablespoons of sugar. I'm gonna say, you know what? I'll put in the description box about how much sugar I use. I did use a nice amount of sugar though. That Duke's mayonnaise, because I usually would use Miracle Whip. Miracle Whip is more sweeter. The Duke's does not have any sweetness, so you do have to make up the difference with sugar. But definitely go and taste as you go to your liking. We like ours, you know, it's not super sweet, but it does have a nice balance between the spices and the sugar. Make sure you're tasting as you go. If you need to add more mayo, more sugar, just go ahead and make sure that it is nice and balanced out. And then you'll see that once everything is done, how the texture of the crab has broken up a little bit. I'll give you a close-up. And then once everything was done, I went and wiped down my sides and I just topped it with some paprika. All right. Now we're going to move to the grill and get everything started. Now we got a matching crock. Yes. It's so nice out here. Nice and quiet. Birds chirping.
Oh, they get on now.
Yeah. No sauce left behind. These coming together. Got the ribs on the cooler side so they can slow cook and get a nice smoke ring. Those wings coming together, babe. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do a close-up on those ribs, baby. Look at that color, the seasoning. My God, my God. Ooh, 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 ooh. Can't wait. You guys, so we had just moved here last summer, so we didn't really have time to get the grill we wanted, but hubby picked up this little portable grill. But look at that bad boy. That little baby is cooking up this food pretty good. So we added our steak and we put a few Italian sausage on there and we were done. Now we were getting ready to make our plates. I wanted to cut into this rib so you can see how juicy it was. Hubby was recording, so I was a little off track, so sorry about that, but look at that juice. I'll show you our plates in a moment. I did also end up making some corn on the cob as well. And then I took out my beans. Now remember when I was talking about them sizzling? They sizzle. You can see that the liquid has reduced, but look at the color on those beans. You can see the bacon, the onions. They were so delicious. And then look at that plate. That meat, nice and colorful and nice and seasoned. Crab salad came together. Got our corn going. This food looks so good. It was going on. It was amazing. I'm not just saying this because we cooked it. I mean, it was good for real. It really was a good job. One more final look, guys. Thank you for watching. Until next time.